think the bottom line for this documentary is that it was not only incredibly well streamed, the content itself for a lot of people came across as powerful because they were telling their side of the story and responding to a lot of the information that had come out from the royal family against them, about them. And it was the first time, for instance, them also responding to the
but they
reception.
Weren't questioned forensically by anybody, were they?
But they were responding to also the reactions from the Oprah interview. And when you say nobody was forensically interviewing them...
It wasn't an investigative documentary.
Well, thank you. It was not meant to be an investigative documentary. And the royal family has never been forensically interviewed about things that they have released about Harry and Meghan. So I think it should work both ways. And I don't think this was meant to be investigative. It was meant to be them telling...
An observation of their story.
They also had experts on there to talk about the impact of the environment in terms of Brexit, and the culture in terms of racism.
I think
all of that spoke strongly.
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the documentary, and I think putting their situation in context and bringing up all these other issues was incredibly compelling. And actually, I think just Netflix has it absolutely made.
But if it had been a panorama...
It's the music as well that gets me. I'm in there with the music.
If it had been a panorama...
I'm not going to blame Harry and Meghan for the impact and choices made by people in the royal family, people
what about
in
for
the
their
media.
Own choices?
No, let me finish. I'm not going to blame them for that because this country was already in a cesspit of racism and race relations issue before they showed up.
So you're saying that we too are part of this cesspit then?
We all are.
Well, I take issue with that because you don't know me and you're making an assumption
about... But it's not about the individual, it's about a general...
Exactly. I'm talking about collective responsibility and I'm also talking about individual responsibility. What do we as individuals do when we vote in people who are not interested in protecting others, who are interested in pushing against the marginalized?
It's all generalisation.
It's not generalisation because it all rolls on. It has a roll-on impact.
Welcome again to Sussex Family Squaddies. The story of Harry and Meghan isn't simply a fairy tale gone wrong. It's a rupture, a seismic shift that sent shockwaves through the very heart of the British monarchy. Their journey exposed the inner workings of an ancient institution, revealing traditions and secrets that had long been hidden from public view. Their decision to step back from royal duties wasn't just a personal choice. It forced Britain to confront uncomfortable truths about itself, its values, and its relationship with the monarchy. This wasn't merely about two people seeking freedom, but about a system unable, or perhaps unwilling, to adapt, evolve, or even protect its own members from harm. Years of mounting pressure, relentless scrutiny, and hostile headlines turned what was once a celebrated union into a relentless public spectacle, with every move dissected by the world's media. Their story quickly became a battleground for debates on race, identity, and Britain's colonial past, sparking conversations that had long been avoided or ignored. The real issue wasn't simply about who was right or wrong, but what their conflict revealed about the nature of power, privilege, and accountability in modern Britain. Harry's struggles within the royal institution, his visible discomfort and isolation, set the stage for this dramatic and unprecedented exit from royal life. Meghan, as an outsider, brought a new perspective. Her presence exposed the rigid unspoken rules and the invisible barriers that define the House of Windsor. Their story is a lesson in how silence can be a form of violence, and how speaking out, no matter the cost, can ignite necessary, if painful, conversations that challenge the status quo. The fallout from their choices divided families and the nation itself, touching on deep issues of race, class, tradition, and the very meaning of Britishness in the 21st century. The tale of Harry and Meghan is more than celebrity drama. It's social history in motion, a living chapter in Britain's ongoing struggle to define itself and its future. So let's pull back the curtain and examine the cracks they exposed in the crown, and what those fractures mean for the monarchy, and for Britain itself. At first, Harry and Meghan's union was hailed as a sign of progress, a biracial, outspoken woman welcomed into the monarchy. Their relationship seemed to signal a new era for the royal family, one that embraced diversity and modern values in a way that had rarely been seen before. Their wedding symbolised hope for a more inclusive royal family. Millions around the world watched, inspired by the idea that centuries-old traditions could evolve to reflect a changing society. But optimism faded as their story shifted from romance to a public symbol of deeper societal issues. The fairy tale narrative gave way to headlines that exposed underlying tensions about race, privilege, and belonging. Their struggles with the press sparked debates about media ethics and systemic prejudice. The relentless scrutiny they faced became a lightning rod for conversations about how the media treats women of colour and outsiders. Meghan's treatment echoed the experiences of many people of colour, especially black women. Her vulnerability and pain resonated with those who have long felt marginalised or misunderstood by mainstream institutions. Her story validated the struggles of those dismissed by powerful institutions. It became a rallying point for broader discussions about justice, equality, and the need for change. Dismissing their story as gossip misses the point. It's a case study in power, identity, and institutional change. Their journey highlights how personal stories can reveal the hidden workings of society. Their decision to speak out challenged the royal mantra of silence. By sharing their truth, they broke with tradition and invited the world to question what had long gone unspoken. By breaking that silence, they forced a confrontation with uncomfortable truths. Their words sparked global conversations about racism, mental health, and the responsibilities of those in power. Their journey resonates because it's about being an outsider and battling entrenched systems. It's a reminder that change often comes from those willing to stand apart and speak up. Their story matters because it's also our story. In their struggles and triumphs, we see reflections of our own hopes for a more just and inclusive world. Harry's discontent began long before Meghan entered his life. Even as a young boy, he often seemed out of place, his eyes reflecting a quiet sadness amid the grandeur of royal ceremonies. Born the spare, he grew up in a gilded cage, always in the shadow of his older brother, expected to follow rules he never helped create. Haunted by his mother's tragic death and the relentless glare of public scrutiny, Harry struggled to find his own identity, his grief magnified by the world's constant gaze. The army gave him a taste of purpose and normalcy, offering camaraderie and a sense of belonging far from royal protocol. For the first time, he felt valued for who he was, not just his title. He spoke openly about mental health, pushing boundaries in an institution built for self-preservation, determined to break the silence and help others facing similar struggles. Meghan didn't lead him away. She empowered him to choose a different path, encouraging him to prioritize his own well-being and happiness for the first time. His decision to step back was a culmination of lifelong trauma and a deep need to protect his family from the same pain he endured as a child. Meghan was the catalyst, not the cause, of his break from the institution. She stood by him, offering strength and understanding as he made the hardest choice of his life. Together, they broke the lock on his cage, forging a new future built on freedom, love, and hope for their family. Meghan Markle's arrival was a collision of worlds, an independent, self-made woman entering a tradition-bound monarchy. The palace, governed by unwritten rules and hierarchy, demands conformity and the suppression of individuality. Meghan's ambition and visibility, initially seen as assets, soon became threats to the established order. Her proactive approach clashed with the palace's slow, bureaucratic pace. The monarchy isn't built for individual stars, it's a collective brand. Meghan's desire for change was more than the system could handle. Her experience asked, can the monarchy accommodate a modern, independent woman? Her struggle revealed the institution's inflexibility, not her own failing. The British media's reaction was swift and polarised. Positive coverage quickly turned hostile, with Meghan facing double standards and racial undertones. The relentless negativity shaped public opinion, casting Meghan as a villain. The public split. Some saw the couple as ungrateful, others as victims of racism and a rigid institution. Supporters viewed their departure as brave self-preservation. Critics saw betrayal. The debate wasn't just about two royals, it was about Britain's identity and values. The media storm exposed deep societal divisions. Their story became a national Rorschach test. Harry and Meghan shattered the royal code of silence by speaking openly about mental health and racism. Meghan's admission of suicidal thoughts was a moment of profound vulnerability, destigmatizing mental health struggles worldwide. Their story illuminated the insidious nature of systemic racism, moving the conversation beyond headlines to institutional prejudice. By sharing their experiences, they forced society to confront uncomfortable realities. Their act of speaking out was solidarity with the silenced and marginalized. They made the invisible visible, changing the conversation forever. Their honesty broke centuries of silence. Harry and Meghan's departure triggered a national reckoning on race, privilege, and power. Their story became a litmus test for Britain's identity and its colonial legacy. Meghan's treatment confirmed for many that racism persists, even at the highest levels. Their experience challenged simplistic views of privilege. Wealth doesn't shield against racism or psychological distress. The saga exposed how institutions protect the status quo and silence dissent. Yet, by speaking truth to power, Harry and Meghan sparked a global conversation. They forced a reckoning Britain could no longer ignore. Harry and Meghan weren't divisive. They revealed divisions that already existed. Commentators like Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu argue the couple exposed, not created, Britain's deep-seated racism and class tensions. Their story acted as a magnifying glass, shifting blame from the messengers to the message. The backlash was against the shattering of comforting illusions about Britain's tolerance. The royal family missed a chance to embrace change, exposing its own limitations. Framing the couple as the source of division is blaming the detector for the earthquake. They named the racism and rigidity they experienced, forcing others to see it too. The discomfort that followed was a long overdue confrontation with reality. The Harry and Meghan saga is a symptom of Britain's identity crisis. The debate over their story reflects anxieties about tradition, heritage, and the nation's future. Defenders of the monarchy see their actions as an attack on cherished values. Supporters see hope for a more inclusive Britain. The couple's journey became a proxy for debates about progress, accountability, and national identity. Britain is struggling to reconcile its imperial past with its multicultural present. The story didn't create this crisis, but brought it into the open. To move forward, we must engage with the deeper questions their story has forced us to answer.